Ladies and gentlemen, look, you don't need another pep talk. You need a wake-up call. Being hard on yourself isn't about tearing yourself down. It's about raising your standards. It's about loving yourself enough to expect more from your own hands. Most people think self-love means long baths and quiet time. That's fine, but the real version of self-love is this. You set your alarm, you get your butt out of bed, you do the hard thing, even when nobody's watching. Why self-discipline is often misunderstood. People hear the word and immediately think of punishment, restriction, or forcing yourself to do things you hate. But that's not what true discipline is. True discipline is an act of deep self-respect. It's the foundation of progress, strength, and peace. And the truth is, the harder you are on yourself in the short term, the easier your life becomes in the long term. That's not cruelty, it's real self-love. Think about it this way. When you care about someone, deeply, genuinely, you don't let them spiral, you don't let them stay stuck. You hold them accountable, you encourage them to push, to grow, to get uncomfortable because you know what they're capable of. Now ask yourself, why don't you do that for yourself? When you let yourself off the hook every time something is hard or inconvenient, you're not loving yourself. You're abandoning yourself. You're telling your future self, I don't care enough about you to struggle today. That's not kindness. That's sabotage. The lie most people live by is this: if I feel good now, I'll be okay later. But life doesn't work that way. You either choose the pain of discipline now or the pain of regret later. And regret is 1,000 times heavier. Being hard on yourself doesn't mean being mean to yourself. It means setting boundaries and honoring them. It means following through. It means doing the hard thing, the uncomfortable thing, the inconvenient thing, because you know that's what builds your future. That's what molds you into someone unstoppable. There's nothing loving about waking up late every day, hitting snooze 5 times, eating whatever's easy, skipping workouts, procrastinating work, and numbing yourself with dopamine until you collapse into bed. That's not self-care, that's slow decay, and every day you do it, it becomes harder to crawl back out. Self-discipline is waking up even when you don't want to, because your goals matter more than your feelings. It's going to the gym when it's raining, cold, or you're tired because your health is non-negotiable. It's sitting with discomfort, whether it's hunger, restlessness, or frustration, and still making the empowered choice. Loving yourself doesn't mean letting yourself off the hook. It means pulling yourself forward, not dragging. Pulling with grace, with toughness, with belief. There will be days when your mind says, this is too much, let's rest. And yes, rest matters. But more often, your brain says that because it's afraid of the resistance ahead. Resistance is not a sign to stop, it's a sign you're on the right path. Growth never feels comfortable. That discomfort you feel, that's the muscle of your mind being torn and rebuilt. That's the process of becoming stronger. You don't get a powerful, confident, resilient identity from taking it easy on yourself. You earn it by putting in the reps, by showing up when it's hard, by saying no to what's easy and yes to what's right, over and over again. If you love yourself, prove it by the way you live. Prove it by the way you talk to yourself when you fail. Prove it by the way you get back up. Not once, not twice, but every time. Self-love is not something you just feel. It's something you practice every single day. Being hard on yourself now is a gift to the future version of you. That future you is sharper, faster, wiser, and more fulfilled. Not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. That strength was built in the quiet hours when no one was watching, in the moments when you had every reason to quit but chose not to, in the seconds when you wanted comfort but reached for courage instead. You want to live a good life, you want freedom, respect, results, peace, then start today, right now, with the hardest, most important act of love you can give yourself: discipline. Self-respect, consistency. Be hard on yourself, not to punish who you are now, but to serve the person you're becoming. That person is waiting, and they're worth every ounce of effort it takes to get there. Excuses are seductive. They sound gentle, even reasonable. They whisper in your ear with comforting logic. You've had a long day, rest a little. You're not ready yet. wait for the perfect time. It's okay, you'll start tomorrow. And before you know it, days turn into weeks, weeks into months, and the life you dreamed of becomes a story you'll tell with regret. The truth is, excuses are lies dressed up as protection. They're disguised as compassion, but they are quiet killers. Killers of potential, killers of progress, killers of purpose, and if you're not careful, if you don't build the awareness to spot them, you'll find yourself stuck, not because the world stopped you, but because you lied to yourself just enough times to believe it was okay to stay still. We all make excuses, every single one of us, but the people who succeed, who grow, evolve, and break through, they don't let excuses win. They recognize them for what they are, a defense mechanism created by fear. And they choose to act anyway. You need to understand something deep and non-negotiable. Your brain is wired to protect you, not to push you. It seeks safety, comfort, familiarity. That means every time you try to do something new, uncomfortable, risky, or demanding, your mind will instantly go to work building a wall of excuses to keep you safe. But that safety is a prison. It's the same routine, the same problems, the same unfulfilled potential on repeat. Excuses feed off emotion. You don't make excuses when you're energized and focused. You make them when you're tired, frustrated, insecure, or afraid. That's when they show up the loudest, wrapping themselves in logic that makes quitting sound reasonable. And here's the worst part, you believe them because they come from you. So what do? You train yourself to recognize them. You stop accepting your own excuses as truth. You call them out. You look yourself in the mirror and say, that's not the truth. That's fear trying to run my life again. The gym isn't too far. You're not too busy. You're not too tired. You're not too late to start. You're just choosing comfort over progress, and that's okay for a moment, but not forever. Every time you let an excuse win, you reinforce the identity of someone who settles. You tell your subconscious, my dreams are negotiable. You teach your mind to believe that almost is good enough. But if you want to do something meaningful, if you want to live a life that actually reflects your potential, then you need to become someone who tells the truth, even when it's hard. And the truth is, most of your excuses are just well-crafted lies. There is no perfect time. There is no magic motivation switch. There's just you and the decision to do the thing or not. And every time you choose to act, even in the smallest way, you reclaim power over your life. This isn't about being robotic or emotionless. You're human, you'll feel doubt, you'll get tired, but the people who move forward, the ones you admire, they don't let those feelings drive their choices. They feel them and they act anyway. They know excuses don't build dreams. Actions do. Every time you feel an excuse rising, take one small step, just one. Prove to yourself that you're in control, not your fear. Not your mood, not your laziness, you. Because here's the thing. You either make progress or you make excuses. You can't do both. When you start becoming honest with yourself, something incredible happens. You stop tolerating the things that once derailed you. You stop identifying as someone who tries and start becoming someone who executes, and that changes everything. Excuses shrink in the face of action. The moment you take responsibility, radical, uncomfortable, no exceptions responsibility, excuses lose their power. You stop needing motivation and start relying on commitment, and that commitment becomes your anchor when everything else tries to pull you off course. So the next time your mind whispers, I'll do it later, reply, no, you'll do it now. The next time it says, this is too hard, respond, good, that means I'm growing. And when it tells you you can't, you tell it, watch me. Because at the end of the day, it's not the world that's holding you back. It's the story you keep telling yourself. And the moment you stop making excuses is the moment you start making your life your own. That statement might sound harsh, but it's one of the most empowering truths you will ever accept. In a world that constantly tells you to wait for the right time, the right support, the right opportunity, it's easy to fall into the trap of depending on someone or something else to change your life. But here's the reality. Change doesn't come from outside. It starts with you, always. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are a product of your choices. And the moment you truly understand that, you take your power back. When you finally stop waiting for someone to fix things, whether it's your parents, your partner, your boss, your government, or some future version of yourself that magically has everything figured out, that's when your life starts to move forward. We grow up conditioned to believe that help is always coming. As kids, we had parents, teachers, and coaches to guide us. If something went wrong, someone would step in, but adulthood is different. Life isn't a school project with a safety net. Life is raw, unpredictable, and often unforgiving. And the sooner you stop expecting rescue, the sooner you start building resilience. Yes, people can support you, friends can cheer you on, mentors can offer wisdom, but no one else can do your push-ups, no one else can write your goals, take your risks, or face your fears. You have to do it. You have to decide that you will be your own rescue team, your own safety net, your own motivation. Because no one cares about your future more than you should. Think about it. Every time you say, "I wish someone would help me," you're giving away control. You're placing the key to your own freedom in someone else's hands. And what happens when they don't show up? You stay stuck. You stay bitter. You stay waiting. But what if instead of waiting you stood up and said, "I've got this"? Even when you're scared, even when you're uncertain. Even when you feel completely alone, that declaration, "I've got this," is the foundation of true personal power. It's not about knowing all the answers, it's about trusting yourself enough to figure them out. Every breakthrough you want is on the other side of ownership. Radical, unapologetic ownership. The type of ownership that doesn't make excuses, doesn't point fingers, and doesn't beg for rescue. It simply says, "This is my life. I will own it, all of it." That includes your past. The mistakes, the pain, the habits you let slide, the chances you didn't take. It's not about blaming yourself, but it is about claiming your story. Because the moment you own your story, it stops owning you. You stop being defined by what happened to you and start being defined by what you do next. There's nothing more powerful than a person who takes full responsibility for their future. A person who doesn't wait for permission, validation, or rescue. A person who looks around, sees the chaos, and says, "Let's go. I'm building something better." This kind of mindset doesn't come from comfort. It comes from struggle. It's forged in fire. And every challenge you face is an opportunity to grow stronger, more capable, and more self-reliant. You become dangerous in the best way possible because you stop depending on luck. You stop relying on motivation. You stop hoping for someone to carry you. You become someone who carries themselves, who leads themselves, who saves themselves. And once you start doing that, something magical happens. You begin to attract people and opportunities not because you're desperate, but because you're disciplined. You stop chasing help and start becoming the kind of person others want to follow. So no, nobody is coming to save you, but you don't need them to, because the truth is you are enough. You always have been. You just have to believe it deeply enough to act like it. You have to be willing to stand up, even when it's hard, and say, "I will figure this out." Not because you have all the resources, but because you are resourceful. Not because you know how, but because you're willing to learn. Not because someone said you could, but because you decided you will. That's the moment your life starts to change, so stop waiting, stop hoping, stop outsourcing your power. Nobody is coming, but that's okay because you are. Discomfort is not the enemy, it's the gateway. It's the price you pay to level up in life, yet most people avoid it like a disease. They seek out what feels good now and ignore the cost it brings later. But here's the unfiltered truth. Discomfort is the currency of growth. If you're not willing to get uncomfortable, you're not willing to grow. Period. Think about anything worthwhile. Building a strong body, launching a business, becoming emotionally intelligent, mastering a skill. None of those things come without effort, without resistance, without discomfort. Growth demands that you sacrifice ease today for power tomorrow. We live in a world obsessed with comfort, instant food, same-day delivery, entertainment on demand, shortcuts for everything. But personal transformation doesn't come in a microwave. It comes from walking into the fire of difficulty and choosing not to run over and over again. Discomfort is a teacher. It's how life sharpens you. When you lift weights, your muscles tear so they can rebuild stronger. When you learn something new, your brain has to struggle before it can adapt. When you face fear, your confidence expands on the other side. Discomfort is not punishment, it's preparation, but we've been conditioned to believe that if something feels hard, it must be wrong, that if we're tired, we should stop, that if we're nervous, we're not ready. That's a lie. Some of the most meaningful, transformative moments in your life will be buried inside pressure, pain, and uncertainty. Your comfort zone isn't bad, but it is limiting. It keeps you in patterns you've already mastered. It makes your world small. It tricks you into thinking safety equals happiness. But if you're honest with yourself, you'll realize that the moments you're proudest of were also the ones that challenged you the most. Discomfort builds discipline. It makes you resilient. When you choose discomfort on purpose, waking up early, showing up when it's hard, doing what others avoid, you're not just achieving goals, you're becoming someone different. You're hardening your mind, sharpening your instincts, and proving to yourself that you don't run from the storm, you walk through it. Avoiding discomfort is choosing weakness, and weakness doesn't protect you, it leaves you exposed. Life will hit you whether you're ready or not. If you haven't trained your mind and body to handle adversity, it will break you. But if you've learned to embrace discomfort, then challenges don't intimidate you, they activate you. People want confidence but don't want to earn it. Confidence is not something you just feel. It's something you build brick by brick through reps of discomfort. Every time you do the hard thing, especially when you don't feel like it, you deposit into your confidence bank. That's how it works. There's no hack, no shortcut, just decisions, one hard choice at a time. You've got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, not once in a while, every day. That's how transformation happens. That's how you separate yourself from the crowd. That's how you develop the edge most people lack. The best in any field, athletes, artists, entrepreneurs, they don't wait until it feels easy. They live in discomfort. They seek it out because they understand that the struggle is the path. There's no magic door you walk through to escape hard things and still win. The only way is through. Start small. Don't overwhelm yourself. But every day, do something uncomfortable. Have that difficult conversation. Go for that workout even when you're sore. Sit in silence and reflect instead of scrolling. Say no to instant gratification. Choose the hard thing with intention. You'll feel it immediately, the resistance, the self. Doubt the mental noise trying to pull you back to what's easy, but that's where the magic is. That resistance is not a wall. It's a signal you're exactly where you need to be. Understand this. Life will not hand you strength. You have to earn it. And the payment, discomfort. It's the toll you pay to cross the bridge from who you are to who you want to be. So don't avoid it, don't fear it, don't resent it, embrace it, because when you learn to do that, when you stop running from the difficult and start running toward it, nothing will be off limits. You'll stop asking for easy and start asking for better. You'll stop craving comfort and start craving challenge, and when that shift happens, you'll become unstoppable. There's a mindset that separates those who live on autopilot from those who rise, who lead, who break through barriers and build the life they envision. That mindset is simple but powerful. You must become your own drill sergeant and your own biggest believer. Most people live stuck in a cycle of extremes. They're either too soft on themselves, making excuses, avoiding discomfort, procrastinating, or they swing too far the other way and beat themselves up relentlessly. Neither works. One leads to stagnation, the other to burnout. But there's a third way, a better way, a stronger way. You become the person who holds yourself accountable with discipline and intensity, but also speaks to yourself with belief, compassion, and encouragement. You become both the coach and the cheerleader, the driver and the supporter, the commander and the caretaker. That balance is the key. Being your own drill sergeant means setting standards and refusing to compromise on them. It means doing the work whether you feel like it or not. It's showing up when it's hard, pushing when you're tired, and demanding more from yourself than the world expects. It's waking up and saying, I don't care what happened yesterday. I'm getting better today. This isn't about being harsh or cruel to yourself. It's about refusing to settle for anything less than your best. You don't allow laziness. You don't tolerate mediocrity. You don't make space for excuses. You become the one who calls yourself out, checks your attitude, and challenges your effort. You say, that wasn't good enough, do it again. You say, you said you were going to do this, so do it. You say, no more wasting time, let's go. But here's what separates the best from the broken. It's not just about discipline, it's also about belief. You have to be the one who cheers for yourself when no one else does, who believes in your potential even when you fail. Who says, yeah, you messed up, but you're still capable, you're still worthy, you still have more in you. If your inner voice is only critical, you'll eventually lose your fire. You'll start believing you're not good enough, not capable enough, not strong enough. And when that belief sets in, discipline fades, motivation dies, goals disappear. So yes, you need to hold yourself to a higher standard, but you also need to have your own back. You need to be the one who speaks life into your goals, who reminds yourself why you started, who says, you've come too far to stop now. Because there will be days when doubt creeps in, when nothing seems to be working. When the grind feels endless, on those days your inner coach, the one who believes in you, needs to be louder than your fears. That's how you build consistency, that's how you last, that's how you win. You become the person who says, I will not lower my standards to match my feelings. I will raise my actions to match my vision. That kind of mindset, that kind of self-talk, it turns ordinary people into warriors, into leaders, into legends, because no one is coming to push you, no one is coming to validate you, no one is coming to lift you out of bed, to silence your excuses, or to wipe your tears when life gets hard. You have to do that. You have to look yourself in the mirror and say, I've got this. I will rise. I am not done. That's what being hard on yourself really means. It means knowing that the world may not see your greatness yet, but you do. It means refusing to wait for permission or praise. It means taking full responsibility and then taking the next step, again and again, with power and belief. So be your own drill sergeant. Push yourself. Demand more. Be relentless in your expectations, but also be your biggest believer. Speak to yourself like someone who matters, because you do. Push and praise, discipline and belief, fire and fuel. That's the balance. That's how you build an unshakable mindset. And when that mindset is locked in, when you become both the one who demands more and the one who believes more, nothing will be able to stop you. So let's bring it all home. Being hard on yourself isn't about tearing yourself down. It's about refusing to let yourself stay small. It's about stepping up, standing firm, and declaring with every action that your life matters too much to waste. It's about discipline as self-respect, not self-punishment. It's about telling yourself the truth, not hiding behind easy lies. You want to succeed, you want to grow, you want to look back on your life with pride, not regret. Then stop searching for comfort and start chasing challenge. Be the person who stops making excuses. Be the person who doesn't wait for rescue. Be the person who runs toward discomfort because you know that's where the growth is. And above all, become the kind of person who holds themselves to an unshakable standard, not because the world demands it, but because you know you're capable of more, because you see the future version of yourself and you're not willing to let that person down. Yes, it's hard. Yes, you'll stumble. Yes, some days you'll feel like quitting, but guess what? You won't, because you've made a decision to lead yourself, to push yourself, and to believe in yourself. Even when it's hard, even when it hurts, even when nobody else sees it yet. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be relentless. This is your life, your responsibility, your race to run. So raise your standards, silence your excuses, do the hard things, be the voice that pushes and the voice that believes. Be hard on yourself, not to break who you are, but to build who you were always meant to become, because no one's coming, but you're already here, and that's more than enough. Now go prove it, daily.